What if your next level is one connection away? We've been taught to focus on working harder, but real growth is built through the right relationships, the right room, the right conversation, the right positioning. My name is Nogi Udevelu. Join me for the Power of Connection webinar taking place on June 28, 2026, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In this webinar, based on my book, The Power of Connection, I'll show you how to build meaningful connections that open doors, strengthen your confidence, and elevate your career. This is not about networking anymore. It's about connecting with purpose. So join me at this live webinar on June 28, 2026, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And let's grow differently. I'll see you there. Hi, welcome to Hello Beautiful. At Hello Beautiful, we leverage the Word of God to help us win the day, win the week, win our year. That's what we do at Hello Beautiful. And I hope you're having a wonderful day. So let's delve right into it. At the last episode, we talked about Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, about the seasons that will remain as long as the earth remains. And in true fashion, I will be reading 3 of those versions. But before I do that, I'd like to remind us about what we talked about at the last episode, which was the seed time and harvest seasons. What do we do when we are planting? That's the seed time. What do we do while we wait for our seeds to germinate? And what do we do when we're harvesting? We talked about it. We delved into it from the lens of our careers, from the lens of our personal endeavors, what it means to have those seasons and why they're necessary. If you're just tuning in to my channel, please click on the button below to subscribe, and more importantly, click on the last link to learn about the seed time and harvest. I am pretty sure it's going to encourage you. So this time around, we are still on that verse, Genesis chapter 8, verse 22, and we're going to be talking about the cold and winter in this episode. So stay tuned. I will be reading the 3 versions again, true fashion. It's always good to read 3 different translations of the Bible just to help to set context. All right. So I'm starting with the New Living Translation, and it says, "As long as the earth remains, there would be planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night." So that's New Living Translation, right? Then in the New King James Version, it says, "While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall never cease," shall not cease. All right, so that's the New King James Version. Then lastly, the Message Version, the translative version in layman's term, break it down to me. It says, "For as long as earth lasts, planting and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never stop." Again, they all sound alike, but they have different renditions of saying the same thing. As long as earth remains, there would be planting and harvest. As long as earth remains, there would be cold and heat. As long as earth remains, there would be winter and summer. And as long as earth remains, there will be day and night. So in this episode, we're going to be talking about cold and winter. Are you ready? Because I'm ready. I'm excited about the things that we're going to be sharing with each other today, and hopefully it blesses you and you share with your friends on how this episode has encouraged all of us to really embrace the seasons that we are in. All right, so let's get down to it. When we think about winter, what comes to mind, right? When we think about the cold, what comes to mind? When it's cold, we want to put on layers. We want comfort. We want some kind of something to warm us up, because the cold is really not good for us human beings, right? We can't always be in the cold. We always have to have something to warm up our bodies. We are warm-blooded people, not cold-blooded, right? We're warm-blooded people. In the winter, there are certain things that happen for you to know it's winter. Number one, it's super, super cold. The temperature drops below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. That's when it starts to get cold and icy. Leaves are no longer on the trees, at least for most trees. Some trees actually thrive in winter, but most trees don't. You actually don't see any leaves. All you see are the branches and the stalk. Like, you do not see any leaves. That's something that happens during the winter. In the winter, you have shorter days and longer nights. Shorter days and longer nights, meaning by like 3 p.m. in the afternoon, it's already dark. You know, sometimes in certain cities by 2 p.m. I remember I went to Sweden in the winter, and oh my God, by 3 p.m. it was dark. It was very dark. And usually in those kind of in Stockholm, in their houses, the walls are painted white just to encourage people, because who likes dark? Nobody does, right? Or if you do, I'll pray for you. But in the winter, it gets darker very quickly, and the daytime is so short. So you have a shorter amount of time to get things done in the winter. In the winter, you need to just be inside. Most people are inside. You don't have street parties happening in the winter because it's just cold and nobody wants to be in the cold. So a lot of the events happen indoors. A lot of our extracurricular activities happen indoors in the winter. And so it's, when you think about winter, it's always inside. You're doing some internal work where nobody is seeing you in the winter, right? So again, it characterizes cold. It characterizes like emptiness in some way. It characterizes loneliness. It characterizes habiting inside, like being on the inside, like a hermit. You are inside your shell. You're trying to stay warm. Your activity is inside. There is no like sunshine. And even if there's sunshine, the cold actually just raids you off the heat because it's that cold. It is very, very cold. And when we think about winter from our career and leadership standpoint, we're thinking of so many things. We're thinking, hey, there's no one staring at you during the winter time. You are not on some kind of spotlight during the winter time. You're not getting the applause that you would get in the summer. Like, there's no spotlight, okay? There's no spotlight. Maybe there might be a hallway light, but there is no spotlight. No one is looking at you. No one is paying attention to you in the winter. In the winter, that's where you actually start to pay attention to yourself. Nobody's paying attention to you except you. That's what happens in the winter, right? In the winter, it could be lonely when it comes to your career or when it comes to your leadership. It could be lonely. In the winter, things are slow. Things are not going fast. Why? Because you're not having the fun that you're used to having in the summer. In the winter, the nights are longer. You just want it to just kind of end. Like, can we just move on to the next day? That's what's happening in the winter. In the winter, you're not getting the accolades that you normally would. People are not paying attention to you. But you see, it's in the winter that we actually form character. It's in the winter that we can look at ourselves and really start to make very intentional decisions on what we want to do. Let's take, for example, in our career, a winter season looks like a period where you are working on a project, but the project is not even being talked about. That's winter, right? You're working on a project and it's not the thing anyone is raving about. That's winter. Or you just got promoted, right? And remember, promotion is like spotlight. So you got promoted. Now that you've gotten the promotion, what's next, right? You have to go back to the drawing board and start planning what it takes to become ready for the next level. That's winter. Winter is when no one is staring at you. Winter is when your name is not being called on the, bulletin board, or you're not being mentioned in the town hall. That's winter. And usually winter is when you start to see things about yourself that you need to work on, or you need to improve, or you need to refine. Winter is that period of refining. It's the period where you buckle down. It's the period where you take stock of the things that you need to address, or you need to fix, or you need to elevate at some point. That's winter. So what do you do? How do you manage yourself during the winter time when it's cold, when the folks who are always like clapping for you are not available, when your boss is too busy to give you attention? What do you do then? When what used to be the spotlight, maybe your project was the spotlight, is no longer the spotlight right now. That's winter. What do you do then? Well, I have some tips for you. I have some tips to help you navigate the cold and winter season. Because you know what? This season, as much as everybody wants to dread it and nobody wants to be in it, this is a season where you get the most out of yourself. So let's not be that individual that misses the opportunity to get something out of your winter season. Let's not be that time, right? Okay, so what do we do? How do we manage ourselves in times of winter? And I have some tips for you here. It is wonderful, straight from the Bible and also from experience, because I may be experiencing winter. I don't know. What do you think? So, number one, how do you handle yourself during a season of winter? Number one, go into the book of remembrance. Go into the book of remembrance. And what do I mean by that? I'm going to read a scripture for you from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2. Chapter 8, verse 2. And it says, "Remember how the Lord your God led you through the wilderness for these 40 years, humbling you and testing you to prove your character, to find out whether or not you would obey his commands." Right? What happens during winter is for you to go into the book of remembrance. In other words, go count your blessings. What does it mean to count blessings? It means think about all the good things that have occurred in your life that you know could have only happened when you did the hard work. Maybe when you graduation, you went through 4 years, college graduation, you went through 4 years of rigorous work to graduate. Or when you got that job, how many interviews did you go to? How many mock interviews did you practice? How many emails did you send? How many people did you network with? Like when you start to think about all the different things, all the different layers of hurdles that you've been able to cross, what it took to get there. Go back to the book of remembrance. When you're in the winter season, you always need a booster. Most times, as human beings, we are so drawn to the external booster. Everybody's cheering us on, yay! But when that external cheering is not there, what do? You go back to the book of remembrance. Remember that time when you got promoted. Remember the work that you did. Remember the diligence that it got you. Remember that time when you were building your business, when you had to get up 5 a.m. every morning and you didn't go to bed until 12 midnight for like 5 months straight in order to get it from the ground up. Remember when you had nothing and God sent a friend to give you something so you can keep moving forward. This is the period you go to the book of remembrance. And what it does is that it helps you to stay focused, to stay strong. during your time of winter, during a time of refining your craft. That's what happens. Book of remembrance. You're counting the blessings. There's a song, count your blessings, name them one by one. Count your blessings, see what God has done. Count your blessings, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. That's the truth. Count your blessings, go into the book of remembrance, and remember where God brought you from to be where you are. And the God that brought you from those levels is the same God that will take you to the next level. So be in a state of gratitude. Thank God for all the things that He's done. Because in that state of gratitude, you are setting yourself up for a level of altitude, right? So your attitude determines your altitude. So stay in gratitude. I'm rapping. Hey, lyrics. Stay in gratitude. So that's number one. Number two, become a student of yourself. What do I mean by that? Start to study yourself. Study what's going on in your mind. Study the stories that you are allowing to stay in you. Are they stories of doubt? Are they stories of encouragement? Are they narratives that God didn't tell you? Are they narratives that the enemy is placing in you? Become a student of yourself. Watch yourself. How do you react when no one is there to cheer you on? Have you become so addicted to the external validation fix that you don't know how to act if nobody is cheering you? Is that something we need to address? Become a student of yourself. Be like this third party watching you, right? Watching yourself. Like, okay, Nogia, how are you responding right now? Are you responding because somebody touched a nerve? Or are you responding from a place of FOMO because nobody is paying attention to you? Ask yourself those questions. Become a student of yourself, because as you become a student, you start to address the things that need to be addressed before your next level of promotion, right? Before your next level of promotion. How are you responding to things around you? Become a student of yourself. I actually put questions down. I'm going to read the question. What's going on in your mind? What stories are you telling yourself? Are they words of victory or are they words of defeat? What are you telling yourself? What are you embracing? Are you embracing, oh my God, I think I'm done. I'm never going to get past this. I'm not even in popular projects anymore. Nobody's watching me. What are you saying to yourself in this winter season where you're all by yourself? Nobody's around you. What are you saying? And how are you rebutting the lies of the enemy? Because the enemy likes to get into our minds, right? It just likes to say, oh, you're good for nothing. You're never going to make it. Nothing good is going to come out of this. You're stuck here forever. Is that the words that you're accepting? Or are you willing to accept that you're a winner, you're a victor, you're more than a conqueror? Are you willing to accept that you walk by faith and not by sight? You declare victory even before you see it physically. What are you telling yourself? That is what it means to be a student of yourself, to be able to catch the lies of the enemy and shut it down real fast. Shut it down, right? Remember, when you start with the book of remembrance, remember what God has brought you through. So what are you telling yourself today? How are you responding to the environment today? Because you don't have the warmth and the cheer, does that mean you do not have warmth and cheer? Think about that, right? So become a student of yourself. Notice the things, notice the behaviors that you want to work on. Notice the skills that you need to refine. Notice the relationships that you need to harness. Which brings me to my third point, my third and final point. Be intentional about your relationships. See, I just talked about winter. Winter, everybody is in their house. right? Very few people are reaching out to say, hey, I want to come visit you. No, they don't want to brace the weather. They ain't trying to get into the cold to come see you. You have to be truly, truly special for folks to do that, right? So, how are you harnessing relationships? Do you think people are still around you? Do you feel like because nobody is cheering you, you don't have any friends? See, that's what the enemy tries to tell you. Oh, see, nobody's praising you at work anymore. I told you, you're all by yourself. You have no friends. Nobody cares about you. Why do you even exist? See, these are lies of the enemy. How do we combat those lies? How do we stay away from the lies, right? It is in how we become intentional about our relationship. Now, there's a relationship that has stayed consistent, whether it's winter, whether it's summer, spring, or fall, that relationship has stayed consistent. And that is God. Our relationship with God is ever sure. He's there in the good times, He's there in the tough times. My question is, are you reaching out to God when you need to? Are you reaching out to God all the time? Because when is all the time? Not sometimes, but all the time. It is not when things are going tough that you remember God. Also, when things are going well, you remember God. This is a God that stays true. He's closer than a brother. He sticks closer than a brother or a sister. That is the God that we serve. You see, the King David was big in the book of Psalms, and there's a book of Psalm, and I'm just going to read part of that scripture because it was so good, and it really tested me during a time of winter. I'm always in a time of winter. There are different areas of my life that is usually in a time of winter, just FYI. Doesn't always go away, but I'm always grateful for it. Very, very grateful. So in this book of Psalms, Psalms 139, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm quoting from verse 7 to 10. I need to read it out to you. Just in case you are in a winter season and you're asking yourself, like, does anyone see me? Understand that God sees you, and God is with you, and God is holding your hand as you go through the season. So this is what King David said. He said, I can never escape from your spirit. I can never get away from your presence. If I go up in heaven, you are there. If I go down to the grave, you are there. If I ride the wings of the morning, if I dwell by the furthest oceans, even there, your hand will guide me and your strength will support me. I could ask the darkness to hide me and the light around me to become night. But even in darkness, I cannot hide from you. To you, the night shines as bright as day. Darkness and light are the same to you. What does that tell you? Whether it's winter, whether it's summer, God is always there. That is a relationship that never fails, never changes. So be intentional about your relationship in this season of winter. Be intentional about your relationship with God as you're going through a lonely season at work, as you're going through a vulnerable season as a leader. Be intentional. He's the all-knowing God. See, the book of James said something that really touched me, and I'm going to read it out. And yes, I am looking at a paper because the Bible is just like super amazing, and there are just so many things that come out from the Bible that makes me so happy, because even when I am in a tough time, I remember the God that I serve. He says, count it all joy when you go through diverse tests, when you go through a tough time, because it's building the character that you need for your next level of promotion. So do you see, these seasons are not here by chance. They're not meant to hurt you, especially the winter season. It's meant to reform you, to refine you. that cold when nobody's staring at you. This is the season that allows you to really work on yourself, to go deeper, to have deep roots, to establish the foundation that you need. So when the spotlight comes, you are not shaken by it and you're not swayed by it, because you know where your true foundation is. Now, I talked about being intentional about your relationship, starting with God. But there are also people that will be present during this season that will shape you. You're going to have mentors. You're going to have encouragers. You're going to have supporters. And you're going to have advocates. People that will come to you regardless of the season. People that see how wonderful you are, regardless of what season. You know, you're going to have a lot of relationships that only know you when you're in the spotlight. But the moment that spotlight is gone, they are also gone. It is in the winter that you know true friends. It's in the winter that you harness true relationships. These folks will encourage you when no one else is. They may not come in the nice dressed up version that you're used to when you're in the spotlight, you know, when you're partying and everything is hunky-dory. They may not be refined like how it is when you're in the spotlight. You get a lot of refined people that can speak corporate lingo to you, and your mind is blown away. These folks are just very raw, very real. But they see you even when you don't see yourself. Those are the relationships you harness in the winter. Because when the summer comes, when the spotlight comes, they are the ones that keep you grounded. They are the ones that keep you focused, right? So three things to do when you're in the winter season. 1, be intentional about your relationships. So I'm going backward now. Be intentional about your relationships. 2, be a student of yourself. Be a student of yourself. What stories are you telling yourself? And 3, get into the book of remembrance. Stay in an attitude of gratitude. The book of remembrance reminds you, the book of remembrance reminds you of what it is that God has birthed you from. And the same God that took you through those trying times is the same God that will take you through this trying time. Do you see? So I'll repeat it again. 3 things you do in the season of winter. Number 1, get into the book of remembrance. Count your blessings. Stay in an atmosphere of gratitude, because it is in that atmosphere you will prepare yourself for the next level, the altitude. It would give you the strength, the resilience, and the power you need to stay on the path of refining, because that's what's happening. Number 2, become a student of yourself. Watch yourself, study the stories that you keep, study the words that you're saying, study how you react to different situations. Take stock of what needs to be readjusted, realigned, refined. Become a student of yourself and really shape up the things that need to be adjusted. And then 3, become intentional about your relationship. 1, with your relationship with God. That is a non-starter, right? That is a no-brainer. As in, it should just become second nature to you that your relationship with God really matters. Not only when the going is good, but also in the refining. Because it's in the refining that you become. Okay? In the refining you become. Now, not only are you establishing a relationship with God, you are also establishing your relationship with people that see you when you can even see yourself. And that's usually in a time of refinement, which happens in the winter. You know, there's a word that says that the winter is meant for you to build your foundation, and the summer is meant for you to get visibility. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about the summer. Yes, it sounds sweet and great, but also responsibility comes in the summer season. And wow, isn't it timely? We'll be talking about this at the next episode when we're in the heart of summer. So stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. And I look forward to sharing more with you in the upcoming episode where we talk about the heat and summer season. Until then, for those who are experiencing a form of winter season, I encourage you today to stay strong, to remember all the beautiful things God has done for you, and let that become the testimony that strengthens you during this time. Be a student of yourself. The word of God says, do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. What are you telling yourself? What are you reminding yourself of? Are they testimonies that God has said about you? Are they words that God has said concerning you? Or are they lies of the enemy? Are you telling yourself that the plans that God has for you are plans of good and not of evil? Or are they plans to bring you to the unexpected end? Or are they the lies of the enemy calling you a loser? What is it? What are you telling yourself? And then 3, may God harness the relationships that would help to build your foundation for this new level. My prayer for you is that you go deeper in the Word, you go deeper in the presence of God, for Him to reveal to you the pearl, the beauty, the awesomeness that you are. And may the real relationships with others manifest in this time of winter, so that you know the folks that will keep you grounded when the summer comes. Until then, remain beautiful and stay blessed. Take care.